Hello and welcome to Spanish Basics. In this module, I'll be speaking to you about Spanish sentence construction. Now, as an outline, we're going to discuss the following topics. We'll begin with an introduction. We'll follow that with a discussion on the order of words in Spanish sentences. And then we'll follow that with a discussion on subject-verb agreement, nouns, adverb position, adjectives, and lastly, questions and exclamations. Now, by way of introduction, modules 1 through 10 have been building blocks. This module will guide you in Spanish sentence construction. Now, you will apply modules 1 through 10 to create correct sentences. There will be comparisons between English sentence construction to be able to illustrate what we're trying to do here. Now, regarding the order of words is similar between English and Spanish. For example, in English, we typically begin with a subject, we follow with a verb, and then we end with an object. The example is, he threw the ball. He being a subject, threw is the verb, the ball is the object. Spanish sentences follow a similar pattern. The example here is, él tiró la pelota. So the subject is él, the verb is tiró, the object is la pelota. Same sequence. Now let's discuss subject-verb agreement. In Spanish, there is subject-verb agreement, as is in English. For details, please refer to modules 4 and then 7, 8, 9, and 10. Now some examples. Let's look at first-person singular. The phrase, I buy, in Spanish is yo compro. Now, the third-person singular would be she buys, and in Spanish would be ella compra. Notice what we did to conjugate the verb so that there is agreement between the subject and the verb. Now, regarding nouns, Spanish distinguishes between singular and plural nouns, as we do in English. Please see Module 2 for details. Now, as examples, we take the word horse, which in Spanish is caballo, and then we make it plural by horses is caballos. So the rule in Spanish is if the noun ends in a vowel, we add s to the end of it to make it plural. Now let's take by comparison the word flower. In Spanish is flor. Now the plural of flowers is flores. So flor ends in a consonant. The rule in Spanish is we make it plural by adding es. Now nouns have gender in Spanish. English does not. Each noun is either masculine or feminine. Please see Module 2 for more details on this. Now, additionally, the definite and indefinite articles change to match the gender of the noun. Some examples are as follows. An example of the definite article, the, is as follows. The sky in Spanish is el cielo. The table in Spanish is la mesa. Now, notice how the definite article changed to match the gender of the noun. Cielo is masculine, mesa is feminine. Now, an example of the indefinite article is a is the phrase a boat. In Spanish, un barco. Then we also take the phrase an apple, which is in Spanish una manzana. In a similar way, the indefinite article changed to match the gender of the noun. Barco is masculine and manzana is feminine. Let's look at adverbs. Similar to English, adverbs require no agreement. Now, the reason for that is because adverbs modify a verb and not a noun or a pronoun. Module 6 has more details. Now, let's take an example. In this example, there is no change to the adverb, even though there is a gender change in the personal pronoun. He ate slowly, él comió lentamente. She ate slowly, ella comió lentamente. So the adverb stayed the same, even though there is a gender change in the personal pronoun. Now, similar to English, adverbs can appear before or after the verb in a sentence. Once again, Module 6 has more details. The first example is after. Now, the girl moved quickly. Una muchacha se movió rápidamente. So the adverb is rápidamente. It follows the verb movió. Now, an example of before is the game finally ended. El juego finalmente terminó. The adverb is finalmente, and it precedes the verb terminó. Let's shift now to adjectives. Unlike English, adjectives agree in gender and number with the nouns that they describe. Please see Module 6 for more details. Of course, there are exceptions, and that is covered in Module 5. Let's take some examples. The first example is of a feminine singular noun. Now, the tall girl, in Spanish, la muchacha alta. The second example is of a feminine plural noun. The tall girls, las muchachas altas. So we have an agreement here in the gender and number with the noun. Now, also unlike English, adjectives in Spanish usually follow the noun they modify. Some examples are the blue diamond, el diamante azul. Another example is the beautiful blouse, la blusa hermosa. So the adjectives are azul and hermosa, and they follow the noun that they modified. Let's go to questions and exclamations. Making a question or exclamation in Spanish is similar but also different. The similarity is that intonation is used when making a question or exclamation in both languages. However, a difference in the Spanish written language is the use of an upside down question mark and an upside down exclamation mark at both the beginning of a sentence and then at the end of a sentence. Of course, they're both right side up. So some example of a question is, what is your name? ¿Cómo te llamas? Notice the beginning of the sentence is the upside down question mark. Now, an example of an exclamation is, good morning. In Spanish, buenos días. Notice once again, the beginning of the sentence is an upside down exclamation mark. Now, we're almost to the end of this module, and as is my custom, I like to give you a refrain, un refrán, before we end. The refrain today is, en diciendo las verdades, a veces se pierden las amistades. In telling the truth, sometimes friendships are lost. At this point, we've completed this module. I want to thank you for watching Spanish Basics. Muchas gracias. Hasta luego.